When setting out with the intention of becoming a famous poet, the first thing you need to do is decide on your pen name, which is the name you want to be published under, known by, and importantly, this pen name will become the name of your brand. Your pen name is also the name people will type into search engines in order to find more of your work. You could pick something unique, such as a made-up name like Kitty Kittensons, to provide a random example, so that the search results will not be filled with other authors' work whom share the same name. However, you could also simply pick a common name such as David Simons, but make it unique by adding another word to the beginning or end of the name, like poet or poetry. Depending on the popularity of the name you wish to publish under, this method of account name selection may be required, as you will find that most common account names will have already been taken. So for example, if you want to write and publish under the name David Simon, but that name is taken, then use either Poet David Simons, or David Simons Poetry. Once you have picked a pen name using this method, then you should start by first creating an email account through which to be contacted by companies you plan on publishing with or contacting. After that, you should start by creating accounts on the broader known outlets such as the three most important social networks, which are arguably Instagram, TikTok and YouTube, then try to use the same name on all accounts created in the future whenever possible. Also ensure you have your content on some of the more poetry niche-specific outlets such as Poetry.com, or within any popular poetry groups on social media sites like Facebook.com and We Belong, or in a subreddit on Reddit.com. As a writer and poet, there are a selection of social media network companies whom you will want to register with and use consistently in order to begin social networking within your niche, and as part of this series we will dive into understanding some of the most beneficial to your career. By ensuring your work can be located within the most niche relevant and required outlets, you can best ensure that your work will begin to be found in the places where your expected potential audience can find it. So by using consistent naming and applying to the more niche-specific content publishing outlets, as well as the broad ones, you can best help the people whom you expect will enjoy your content to know exactly how and where to find your work, which is extremely important if you plan on monetizing your material in the future. Something to bear in mind is that on some platforms you might be surprised to see a popular name is actually available. I would say to stay away from it if you know a name you have already been using consistently is available for registration. There is no point in randomly using a name on one place even if it is a good name. You can register it for a side project perhaps, but don't deviate from your brand term when referring to your brand unless you have to. In the event you are unable to use your brand name for some reason, such as because you used symbols elsewhere when picking your account name and the place in question doesn't allow symbols. Or perhaps because you picked a name that was more common than you thought and it's already taken. Then just register the closest name to your brand name possible. As long as you remain consistent as possible, then you can say you did your best. It's okay to use more than one searchable term in relation to your brand, but just remember that the more you can consolidate the information which is required in order for potential readers to find and consume your product, the better.